Hey all, Ron here from Military Images Magazine with a new episode of Life on the Civil War Research Trail. German immigrants who came to antebellum America arrived from all walks of life, young and old, rich and poor, more or less educated. They earned their living as farmers, laborers, merchants, doctors, lawyers, and other professionals, artists, intellectuals, clergy, and more. Many of them came seeking opportunity. Others came seeking freedom, and some came because they had no choice. One of these immigrants was Magnus Brucker. He's pictured here in his mid 30s, dressed in a Union officer's uniform with an eye patch covering an injury or a birth defect that remains unexplained. The photograph captures a thoughtful, serious man, someone who had already lived through revolution, exile, and the upheaval of war. Rucker was born in Germany back in 1828. He was well educated, earning two college degrees while studying at the French University at Strasbourg and the University of Heidelberg. By every measure, he had the makings of a successful physician and a scholar. His future seemed secure, but history intervened. In 1848, a liberal nationalist movement swept across the German states. Reformers demanded constitutional rights, freedom of the press, and a parliamentary democracy. They also sought to unify the many independent German states into a single nation. Brucker joined the revolutionists who rose up against the old autocratic order. The revolution failed, as happened to thousands of other reformers. Defeat forced Brucker into exile. Many of these political refugees, later known as the 48ers, fled to the United States, bringing with them their education, political ideals, and their revolutionary spirits. Brucker arrived in America with little more than those degrees and a lot of determination. He eventually settled in Troy, a township in southern Indiana's Perry County, where he opened a medical practice and began rebuilding his life. Like many German immigrants in the Midwest, Brucker soon became involved in politics. When the fledgling Republican Party emerged in the 1850s, the Working Man's Party, he joined its ranks. The party's commitment to free labor and opposition to the spread of slavery resonated strongly within him. Brucker gained election to the Indiana state legislature, where he advocated politics that aligned with his belief that slavery threatened both the nation's moral foundation and its economic future. To him, a system built on enslaved labor undermined the prospects of free working men. When the Civil War began, Brucker decided to act on those convictions. He entered Union service as an assistant surgeon in the 23rd Indiana Infantry. Brucker was not alone. Author Martin W. Offell noted in his 2008 book, True Sons of the Republic, European Immigrants in the Union Army, opposition to slavery also motivated many German immigrants in the Midwestern and border states to join the Army. Less abolitionist in sentiment, these volunteers feared the extension of slavery primarily for economic reasons and often expressed racist sentiments. Offell cited Brucker as one example. He fought against slavery. He wrote to his wife because it was the ruin of the free white laborer. Before the war, Brucker had not agreed with what he termed the agitation of the Northern fanatics. But as the war dragged on, he reached the conclusion that the Union had to destroy slavery and open the whole country to free labor and to keep it free for our children and grandchildren. As Brucker indicated, a good number of immigrants were openly opposed to the liberation of the slaves and would not participate in a war against slavery. He cared not, Brucker told his wife, what the population of Troy thought of him, whether they call me Black Republican, abolitionist, Lincolnite, or Yankee vandal, as the rebels call us, black or white. In the Army, Brucker proved himself capable and dependable. He began as an assistant surgeon, but soon advanced to fill the position of full surgeon responsible for the care of hundreds of soldiers in the 23rd Indiana. His service placed him in the heart of some of those important campaigns in the Western Theater. He was present during the Battle of Shiloh in April 1862, one of the war's earliest and bloodiest engagements. Later came the Vicksburg campaign, including the battles of Port Gibson, Raymond, and Champion Hill, followed by the long siege that ultimately forced the surrender of the Mississippi River stronghold, that, of course, in July of 1863. Brucker continued with the Army through the Atlanta campaign, including the fighting at Kennesaw Mountain and Jonesboro. He marched with William Tecumseh Sherman across Georgia during the March to the Sea and remained with the Army through the Carolinas campaign, including the Battle of Bentonville in 1865. Like many officers, Brucker did not pass through the war without controversy. At one point, he and other medical personnel faced accusations of being unavailable to the wounded and of using ambulances to transport personal baggage. The charges, however, were never acted upon. More telling was perhaps another decision he made during the war. Brucker employed a black nurse to assist in caring for the regiment's wounded soldiers. Her name was Lucy Higgs Nichols. She would go on to be one of the most respected caregivers attached to the 23rd Indiana, remembered by veterans long after the end of the war. When peace returned, Brucker resumed his life in Indiana. He returned to politics, again serving in the state legislature and becoming active in Veterans Affairs. His experiences during the war, both as a surgeon and a reform minded immigrant, shaped his commitment to supporting former soldiers and preserving the Union for which they had fought. However, Magnus Brucker did not live long afterwards. He died in 1874 at age 46, leaving behind his wife, Elizabeth, and 6 children. Yet his memory endures among the men he had served. The veterans honored him by naming a Grand Army of the Republic post after him, a lasting tribute, at least lasting throughout their lifetimes, to a German immigrant who crossed an ocean, survived a revolution and exile, and ultimately devoted his life to the cause of the Union. So thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode of Life on the Civil War Research Trail.